So right now, as I'm typing this, it's almost 4 in the morning, May 31st, 2021. And I just got finished playing about an hour of Hood, Outlaws and Legends. And I gotta say, I ended that session feeling some of the worst feelings developers want you to have playing their game. Disappointment and anecdotic. But before I get into the negatives of this game, let me introduce you to it. Hood is a stealth PvEVP game in which 2 teams of 4 players compete against each other to obtain a chest of gold. So let me explain. In order to get the gold chest, players need to steal a vault key from the sheriff, an enemy that is completely bullshit, but I'll get to that later. Once you steal the vault key, you need to find a vault on the map. Now, I'm not sure if there are multiple vaults on each map or not, but after you open a vault, there's a big chest in it. One of your teammates needs to carry the chest to one of the various winch locations around the map. Then, up to 2 teammates need to operate the winch until the meter is completed. Now, there's a bit more to this, but that's the basics of the game, and trust me, I'll get into specifics later. When I first saw a trailer for this game, I was actually really excited. It reminded me of Payday 2, but set in medieval times, but also PvP. And to give the game credit, the game combines aspects of different game genres to make a genuinely new experience to me. I personally don't know of other games like this, so props to them for trying something new. And I cannot stress this enough how much I like the concept of this game. 2 teams competing over one objective that has multiple steps to it. So if anyone else knows about games like this, let me know in the comments. The graphics are also something that I could give this game brownie points for too. The environments are nicely designed with lush looking vegetation, aged wood and stones, excellent lighting, and impressive attention to detail. Like, the random water puddles I see on the ground have some really good reflections to them. But everything else after that is kind of a mess. Let's start with the core of the game, stealth. This game has really bad stealth mechanics, like awful. The basics of it are pretty good. Enemies have a line of sight, stay in that line of sight for too long, and you alert whoever was looking at you, plus whoever was in their immediate vicinity. The problem is what also happens when you're spotted. Each map is divided into different areas, and when guards are alerted to your team's location, that area will be put on high alert, lowering portcullis in that area, usually preventing an easy path to the next area. Now, this is a solid idea, I think, but literally as soon as you get detected, the guards are on high alert and portcullis are lowered. There's no horn the guards blow, or running to a specific area, it's just, fuck you. But really though, this mechanic is honestly just a tiny nugget of shit compared to some of the massive steamers this game has. Now, the stealth system is flawed, yes, but losing sight of guards is an absolute nightmare because I don't think you could lose them at all. I've tried, and maybe someone can prove me wrong, but from any of my attempts, the only way to lose a guard's attention is to kill them or just die. And if you just so happen to unfortunately lose your life to a guard or hidden player, the guards just stay in position, not going back to any kind of post. So if a horde of guards are piled on top of the objective, you just have to hope they go after someone on the enemy team, or someone that isn't you. This is especially a problem if someone brings the sheriff to the final objective, the wench, since the sheriff is incredibly tanky, can only be downed, and just straight up fucking one-shots you if you get too close. Side note, can we please fucking change the sheriff, or at least make it to where you can mash out of the attack or something? I don't know, something to just make it less shit. Anyways, back to stealth. Honestly though, this whole stealth thing and enemy grouping wouldn't be a problem because I think a system like this has been done before in Payday 2. After you set off alarms, I don't think you could lose police attention, which is fine, it just turns up the action considerably. But like, in Payday, you can deal with more than one person at once. Fighting multiple enemies at a time in Hood is pure garbage, whether you're melee or ranged. Okay, I'm just dead. Like, why do I have no dodge? It also doesn't matter if you're fighting multiple AI or real people. It sucks regardless. Both range characters have awful melee attacks, and they don't have enough reserve ammo to take out more than maybe 2 or 3 people at close range. And yes, I know Robin one-shot headshots, but you usually don't have enough time to full charge your arrows while you have multiple people attacking you. Melee characters are also pretty problematic, since their melee attacks can be interrupted, take up a large amount of stamina, and only deal enough damage to kill maybe one person before you run out. And yes, I'm talking about AI and real players. How fucking great is that?
Kill intruders.
Why? Why does that take up all of my stamina? Like, that took up so much of my goddamn stamina. That's so stupid. Even if you manage to survive an encounter with multiple combatants, it's most likely that you've taken damage, which puts you at such a significant disadvantage. See, in this game, there is no passive health regen, no health packs on the map, and no healing potions. So, if you take damage, you're stuck at that remaining HP until you die, or until the one character that has a healing ability is able to use it. By the way, it's like all abilities in this game where you need to build up charge by dealing damage or taking objectives like in Overwatch. So, good luck getting a heal in a small radius when you need it. This leads to fights between players being incredibly risky, and the winners of a fight being at a huge disadvantage when the enemy reses. And actually, speaking of reses, respawn timers. They're way too long, especially toward the end of the match. I think the longest respawn timer I've gotten was 20 seconds, and for a game like this, it's way too long. Spending 20 seconds away from the objective and your team while the enemy's on it, then having to make the mad dash back to it keeps the player out of the action for way too long, especially since you're trying to avoid guards along the way, and the quickest way to the objective is likely blocked off by portcullis. I will amend that my gripes between your respawn point and the objective is countered by the fact that there are capture points on the map that your team can take that serves as respawn beacons, and there are multiple winches that your team can use to extract the gold chest from, some of them closer to your initial respawn point. Going back to the combat though, this game is balanced horribly. I don't really know where to start here, but I'm going to start with the ranged characters. Out of the 4 playable characters, 2 of them are ranged, Robin and Marianne. Both of them have some very glaring issues, starting with their ammo economy. They both have very little maximum ammo, and when you run out, you practically become useless. Both Robin and Marianne have melee attacks, but they're slow, take up about 1/5 of your stamina, and don't deal very much damage, so they aren't really worth it to use. And I wouldn't really be complaining about their low ammo and weak melee normally, cause I know Robin one-shot headshots, and I think Marianne can do the same. It's a pretty balanced choice. Except if getting more ammo wasn't so fucking unnecessarily difficult. Your ammo pickup points aren't marked on the map, and even when you're close to one, they just have this, like, faint glow to them. So even when you're nearby, they still aren't that noticeable. Like, come on. The only information the map gives you are capture points and enemies that have been marked. There aren't icons fighting for precious real estate on the map here. It seems like something that's so easy to implement, and it's beneficial to the player. I'm getting sidetracked here. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, right, ranged characters. Robin's bow charges way too slow. So if someone's rushing you, you've got about 8 arrows that you're probably instant firing into your target. So, good luck. Marianne, well, I've played her the least out of the 4 characters, but my biggest issue with her is her crossbow, at least the way it functions. From what I can tell, it seems like you could just spam click fire and it'll shoot, but there's a set fire rate of the crossbow. But sometimes pressing fire just won't shoot for some reason. I don't know if I'm animation canceling or something, or if I've been lagging while playing, or if it's just a bug. Either way, it's a very weird issue. So the other 2 characters, I kind of already talked about their issues earlier in the video, so there isn't really a need to repeat myself, because the issues are shared with both of them, and The only character-specific issues I have with the melee role is with Tuk, or Tok, I don't know how to say his name. His melee attacks are really inconsistent, especially his heavy attack. That's something that should be fixed. The only other complaint that I have for melee, and this one's kind of big, is blocking. It's broken, simply because blocking covers the entire front side of the character, even if the characters visually aren't blocking all of their bodies. This is something that's especially annoying to deal with as a ranged character, because all melee need to do is hold block and walk towards you. So unless you have your map pickup grenade that you can only hold one of, or your ult ready, all a melee player needs to do is hold block and W. It's really not fun to deal with. Alright, I think I've aired just about all my grievances with this game, and I said why I liked it. And now it's time for me to give my final thoughts. I really like the concept for this game, but the execution was less than good. The game can be fixed, but I think it'd take a lot of work because a lot of the changes that I believe need to be made have to deal with the fundamentals of the combat and the enemy AI. Honestly, I'm not sure if the devs would commit to doing that, but I will eat my words if this game gets some type of massive overhaul. Until then, though, I wouldn't recommend this game, and I don't think I'll be playing it anytime soon. I will be keeping an eye on it, though, because, like I said, I really like this game's concept, not its implementation. Do you agree with anything I said in the video, or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments, because I want to know what others think of this game. I just browsed the Steam reviews and the subreddit for Hood, and the people playing this game seem to be pretty split between really liking it and, well, sharing my mindset. Thank you for watching the video, and until next time, stay safe.